Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm taking a look at the 5th story in the first series of the 4th Doctor Adventures series or range, which are currently, if this recording, on their 6th series, whereas this is, the first one, and I've just completed it. The first series, so I'm going over all of them, and I've previously reviewed episode 4, but that was a long time ago. That was Energy of the Daleks, and for those of you who haven't seen that review, I gave that an 8 out of 10, so, and then when I've listened to the last story, which is the next one, I'll review that, and then I'll be doing a overview slash retrospect video on the whole series and what I thought of it as a whole and what I thought about each one individually. Briefly, I'll go over that, seeing as obviously in these videos I've done a more in-depth analysis of them. You've got the Tom Baker logo here, Tom Baker logo there, even picture of Tom Baker there in the Time Vortex, Trail of the White Worm by Alan Barnes, Tom Baker there, then you've got like this bolt of electric with the Master there, a house, a tank, helicopter, all that good stuff. It says Classic Doctors, Brand New Adventures, The Audio Adventures of Doctor Who, Big Finish. Then it's got 1.5 telling you that it's the first series, but it's the 5th episode out of 6, so as I said, the next one's the last one. Big Finish, Trail of the White Worm, or Doctor Who Trail of the White Worm, Tom Baker there. And on the back you've got all the cast, the bio, the running times, which is 60 minutes, the disc, the reversible cover and the writer's notes and stuff like that on the inside. It's 60 minutes, two-part story with so each part is 30 minutes long, so yeah. I'm on the fence about this one. I thought it was a bit of a step down, if I'm being completely honest, in comparison to Wrath of the Iceni. Wrath of the Iceni and Energy of the Daleks I gave an 8 out of 10. Whereas this is a bit of a step down. The best way of describing this story is setting-wise. It kind of reminded me, at least, of Battlefield, the 7th Doctor story, Battlefield, but with the sort of gothic horror sort of vibe of, say, The Deadly Assassin or Keeper of Traken, you know. And this is the second Big Finish audio episode that I've listened to with the Master in, and the first one was like at the end with, ironically, Geoffrey Beaver's Master again. And here he is decent, but he's not in it enough, if you ask me. I felt like he was revealed at the end of part 1, which is good, and he's in a bit of part 2, but beyond that, I think he's going to be in the next story a lot more, because the next story, this story and the next one are very much linked, from what I've been told. I mean, they're both written by Alan Barnes, and they are essentially a 2-part story. But I've also heard a lot of people have said that, or the main consensus even amongst fans, is that the weakest 2 stories in the first series, by most fans anyway, are Trial of the White Worm and the Osiren Adventures, which are the last 2. I don't know, I mean, I think it had a lot of twists and turns, but not good ones, if that makes sense. Like, I was very confused a lot of the time listening to this. I thought it was alright, I thought it was okay. I liked Leela, I liked Tom Baker, of course, in this. I liked them. The Master was okay. There was no massive standout sort of character, really, that I could think of, beyond maybe, as I say, like just the Doctor, maybe, I don't know, but I think again it was a bit here and there. I did like the bits in the cave though, when you found out where the Master was, and the Master was in the cave, and then he was talking to Leela. I thought that was quite interesting. I thought the beginning bit with the person with the tank, controlling the tank, I thought that was quite interesting, that guy, and that we find out that actually, later on, spoiler alert, but he's kind of under the thumb of the Master, but, and that actually the Master isn't the leader of this. That guy isn't the leader of the sort of story, and that actually it's the Master who's pulling the strings. I thought that was a nice twist, but pretty obvious one. The White Worm itself was decent, and I liked the White Worm, but I just thought it could have been utilised a bit better, it could have been executed a bit better, but I thought it was a bit here and there, the White Worm itself. I thought it was a bit confusing that it, changed its appearance and its shape and stuff, and it could, manifest itself in other people and that. I thought that was kind of a bit confusing. I thought it was a good idea, but it was executed a bit poorly, personally. I think one of the highlights of this story is the different characters and that, and I guess the simplicity of the setting being, as I say, like a sort of battlefield sort of setting, i.e. sort of Earth type setting, which I thought was nice. I think it's sort of more Earth in the sort of historically sort of past England sort of countryside type place. Whereas with the previous story, from what I remember, Energy of the Daleks, that was more the sort of modern day, like our time, sort of, Bells of St. John type sort of England, whereas this is sort of more, the sort of more, it's sort of take Wrath of the Iceni as the past, then move forward and that, but still you're sort of in the outbacks, in the countryside of England, whereas with Energy of the Daleks, I think it was set more sort of like, I don't know, like it gave me a vibe of, as I say, like Bells of St. John, but also being set in London. So whereas this is clearly set sort of in a little village, in a town. So again, that's why it kind of made me think of Battlefield, yeah. Seventh Doctor story. Overall, I think I would give this a 7 out of 10. I think it was decent, and I think it was good. I liked the Master in the parts that he was in. I just think he wasn't in enough. Tom Baker was good in this, but I don't think, from what I remember, there was any real standout moment or anything massively stand out from him. He was just being Tom Baker, which isn't a bad thing. It's just there was nothing amazing about his performance that was outside of the box. Leela was really good, actually. I think Leela had quite a few bits and pieces here to do. It was one of those stories where the Doctor and the companion were split up, which I quite liked. I think that gave Leela a bit more, not so much character development, but just space to do some more stuff without the Doctor just sort of holding her back and kind of just being like, oh, that isn't what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to do type thing, It gave her more space as a character to just sort of roam free in this sort of open world sort of sandbox that is the story. Whereas what I found with Classic Who, what the major problem is with the Doctor companion dynamic in a lot of Classic Who is that the Doctor would overshadow the companion, and they would usually just be following him along in a lot of stories, whereas this allowed for the character of Leela, as I say, to just do her own sort of thing. Yes, she got sort of cornered and sort of ran into the Master, but it was still a more interesting dynamic than, say, if the Doctor was there and the Doctor was just there sort of helping her and doing stuff and just saving the day sort of thing. So I am curious as to see where this wraps up, or how this wraps up in the next story. Hopefully well, maybe not, I don't know. I've heard some not so good things about the next story, but as I say, I would give Trail of the White Worm a 7 out of 10. Unfortunately, a 1 point departure from as I say, Wrath of the Iceni and Energy of the Daleks. But yeah, thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.